Welcome to Delta Green, God's Teeth, brought to you by Black Project Gaming. Get read in at blackprojectgaming.com. I'm Vince, your host and handler for this campaign. Joining me are Cami as FBI Special Agent Sarah Hart, Doug as Homeland Security Investigations Special Agent Gerrald Swenson, Jack as Special Agent Adrian Selivanov with the FBI's Computer Analysis Response Team, and Sonia as Dr. Leah Caron with the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. God's Teeth is a campaign of unthinkable horrors, written by Caleb Stokes for Delta Green, the role-playing game. For more information on Delta Green, please visit delta-green.com. Music in these episodes is brought to you by Cryo Chamber and Epidemic Sound. This podcast contains depictions of and allusions to violence against both children and animals, as well as unnatural horror, graphic violence, and adult language. As a result, it is intended solely for mature audiences. Listener discretion is strongly advised. So, in our last session, you all, as Working Group Masticate, with your newly recruited friendly in the form of Detective Sergeant Almedina Velasquez, finished up your search at Carrie Houghton's apartment. On your way out, you met and successfully rebuffed Olivia Toomey, a reporter from the Baltimore Sun, who confronted you all, specifically Sarah, in the apartment complex parking lot. Bear and Adrian took the opportunity to review the rest of the video footage from the storage unit, specifically in the time preceding and following Carrie Houghton's murder, and you found evidence of what appeared to be a dog visiting the site via the same path at the exact same time every day. Adrian and Sonia, you doctored Carrie Houghton's medical records to reflect that the signs and symptoms of chronic traumatic encephalopathy began far sooner than previously reported. So you essentially masked that it was a sudden, surprising onset that was far more traumatic than it should have been. When you all got back to your hotel for some much-needed rest and relaxation, Adrian, you called home to ask about whether Baba Yaga and the old fairy tales could control animals, and you learned that the witch had many animals at her hut, but didn't necessarily control them, but one could possibly extrapolate based on how many animals and the kind of animals that some degree of control probably wouldn't be too far beyond the pale. Bear and Sarah, you went back to Cornucopia House, specifically the excavation site, to follow that dog's trail, which Bear you had identified during your footage review. And it was there that you found the culvert, and inside you found the impossibly old Mr. Throb, who exited the culvert and died at your feet upon being discovered. Meanwhile, Adrian, you researched Olivia Toomey, while Dr. Caron went to the medical trailer at the excavation site to conduct an autopsy on Mr. Throb's corpse. Dr. Caron, of course, you found nothing unusual besides its strangely and unusually advanced age. You did conduct a complete autopsy to facilitate the cover story that the purpose of the exam was to inspect its stomach contents for possible evidence. Adrian, you also got a call that thankfully you are rabies-free. Bear, you called your wife Cheryl, who you were supposed to meet that day, and you unfortunately failed to sell the excuse that you were down in Atlanta assisting on an investigation, and you took just a little bit of bond damage there. The next day, your facial recognition results came back on Carrie Houghton's murderers. You identified a John Doe from Broward County, Florida, Thomas Perez, who last resided on a farm in Wicomico County, Maryland, and L. Gable, who was caught on camera purchasing a ticket in Miami for Baltimore. You discovered that Thomas Perez lived with his adopted family on that farm and decided to pay a visit. Velasquez met you all at the hotel, provided some details on the last investigation, the one conducted back in 2001. Specifically that despite the discovery of an abundance of sexually exploitative material, the drug hit narrative was far easier to pitch to just make it go away. But of course, suspicion still lingered about what truly happened at Cornucopia House. You learned that one of the surviving children had been linked to a previous kidnapping investigation conducted by the FBI, but Adrian, you found the case had not been digitized and was blocked by warnings to contact the FBI Office of General Counsel and the DOJ Office of the Inspector General. Sarah, you got a call from Pizzarelli after you had texted him to ask about that case file, and Pizzarelli essentially warned you all not to dig any further for fear of attracting unnecessary attention from the Department of Justice. On the way to the Perez farm, Adrian, with Sarah's help, you attempted to forge a warrant for the Cornucopia House survivors' adoption records, but unfortunately you were unsuccessful at the time, not to say you can't attempt to do so again. You also, on the way to the Cunningham farm, Sarah, you spotted that Olivia Toomey was following you in her white van, but the van pulled off as you started to make your way into more rural country, and Bear made the decision to take a more out-of-the-way route to get to Wicomico County. When you arrived, Velasquez was there waiting for you. You approached the door, you knocked. Sarah, you picked up on the smell of decay, at which point Velasquez kicked in the door to conduct a health and wellness check. You all cleared the house and unfortunately discovered the bodies of Thomas's adopted parents and siblings, all of whom were stabbed to death. And that is where we will pick up. So you all are in this house now with Velasquez and the corpses of Thomas Perez's adopted family. Presumably no calls have been made to local law enforcement yet to report this, but the scene is yours.
Did we clear the entire house yet, or did we just enter and find the bodies?
You were clearing as you went, and so you started on the bottom floor, cleared the bottom floor, moved up to the second floor, and that's when you found the bodies. We can say that, Velasquez especially would have continued clearing the rest of the house before going into crime scene investigation mode.
Okay, got it. And we haven't gone in the barn yet?
No.
Okay.
So I think Adrian is going to... He'll approach the house and at Sarah's behest and enter, and I think that it seems like the scent is strong enough that anyone who's in the house can smell it now. I don't think Adrian's very familiar with the scent, but he knows that it's not good, and so instinctively sort of puts a hand up to his mouth and his nose to cover to cover up the scent from his face. And he just says, "Oh, what is that? Is that what I think it is?"
Yes. I'm gonna kneel down by one of the bodies. Is it still warm? Can I see how long they've been dead?
What's your forensic score?
Oh, 70.
Yeah, it's clear that they have been dead for weeks. The bodies are bloated at this point. The blood is long congealed. There are flies and maggots, and they are in an advanced stage of decomposition, especially considering the August heat.
I have to get outside. I'm sorry.
Adrian, make a constitution test for me.
Absolutely.
Leah, I think, has started to investigate the bodies themselves with pulling on some gloves. Not disturbing their placement necessarily, but just making sure, doing due diligence on how exactly they died.
With that 96 out of 60, Adrian, you are going to vomit, and you're going to vomit.
Absolutely. I think he's already feeling the bile rise up in his throat, and before he can even push himself out of the front door, maybe he slams into Bear as he's on his way out, but the vomit's already starting to flood through his fingertips, and he just releases it all on the front porch.
There's a special kind of silence that settles over and inside of a house where someone has died. There's nothing quite like it. It's almost as if the presence of the living carries its own symphony, its own orchestra with it, and that all has gone eerily quiet. The only real sounds around you are the sounds of these fat black flies slapping against the glass of the windows in the bedrooms. Leah, you go about your inspection of the corpses, and Velasquez comes in and says, Whoa, before we start doing anything, we need to call the locals on this.
Out of character, where we're at now, the jurisdiction, would it be her department or would it be a different one?
So technically, because she is state police, she does have jurisdiction over the state. However, typically only at the request of local law enforcement. So in this case, it would be the Wicomico County Sheriff's Office.
Okay, so it would be an entirely new group of people that haven't touched this case yet.
It would.
Okay.
We can leave the bodies alone. They're already dead. We can try to see if there's any more information elsewhere.
I'm not saying we shouldn't call it in, But given the history of this case and the potential cover-up, I wouldn't mind if our team had a quick look at everything first. We won't remove anything. We won't disturb anything. I just want to make sure that we don't bring new boots in here and then something gets missed, like it did 15 years ago.
Make a persuade roll, but I will give you a plus 20% because of her status as a friendly. Yeah, with a 60 out of 86, no problem. Velasquez nods and says, fine, but you got to promise me we're calling this in.
Before we leave, absolutely. We'll call it in. And please, look around yourself.
Glove up, everybody.
If we're gloving up and investigating, I definitely want to go to the barn. Check that out.
I was actually going to say that I think Adrian, when he's outside, well, first thing when he's outside, he's going to look at the street, at the road rather, and he wants to see if he sees that van that was tailing them earlier, if there's any kind of trace of it.
Even with an alertness of 40, Adrian, you're confident that there's nobody here. You've got a pretty wide field of view, and there's not a lot of cover or concealment in between the farmhouse, the road. If anybody was coming, you would see them coming from a pretty far ways off, and you're fairly confident that there is nobody driving up on you, especially nobody in a white van.
Great. And I think as he's stepping off the front porch and looking down the road, he turns and he sees the farmhouse, the barn, and there's just almost this unconscious compulsion that tugs at his core, and he's going to start walking towards it very softly. And I think he's not like hypnotized by it, but there's something pulling him there. He doesn't know what, and it may not be anything, but it's an unconscious compulsion. And I think that he's even let some of the vomit that was still in his hand, he just sort of like wipes it on his jeans.
So, Dr. Caron, as you begin your preliminary check of the bodies without disturbing them too much, it is clear that they died from traumatic stab wounds. In fact, it appears that they attempted to fight off their attackers, both the adults and the children. There are defensive knife wounds in the forearms and the hands, and it appears they sustained all of the multiple stab wounds to the torso, to the chest, to the vital organs, and all of them were finished off by having their throat sliced from ear to ear.
When you say attackers, do we have evidence that there were multiple attackers?
You do not.
Okay.
This is supported by the arterial spray and the blood spatter you can see on the carpet and walls. And it all appears it was done likely with some kind of hunting knife, some kind of sharp-edged, very large blade. It appears, if you had to put a kind of construct a rough timeline, it appears that the mother was attacked first and stabbed in bed, after which the father got up, attempted to fight off the attacker, and was killed, and then the attacker went back and finished off the mother, and then proceeded to murder the children. The amount of stab wounds and the amount of injury to the bodies indicates profound anger. This wasn't 3 or 4 stab wounds. We're talking, honestly, without cutting off the clothing, washing the bodies, and individually counting the wounds, dozens, potentially. And then, of course, the wounds to the neck, where you can see all the way almost down to the bone. Go ahead and roll sanity for me, please. Sarah, too, if you're looking. And Bear. So Sarah with a 6 out of 50, Bear with a 10 out of 49, and Leah with an 18 out of 67. You all lose 1 from violence. So with that, this is not y'all's first rodeo, as they say. You are used to seeing scenes like this one, but the violence nevertheless is unsettling, hence the 1 point of sanity loss. But the house is yours. We will return back to Adrian, who is proceeding to the barn. Sarah, were you staying in the house, or were you going to go out to the barn?
I was going to go out, but I think timing-wise, Adrian will get there before me, so I can join him in a bit.
Adrian, you proceed to the barn. This isn't like a stereotypical barn where it's like this old wooden red painted structure. This is a very modern barn. It's corrugated steel, well lit. windowed. The door easily slides open. It was obviously unlocked and has remained unlocked. And upon opening it, you see that it is a horse barn. There are multiple horses inside, all of whom, of course, have not eaten in quite some time and are very suddenly distressed by your arrival. You can see the eyes rolling into the back of their head. You can see the whites of their eyes. You can hear the nervous shuffle and clop of hooves on the stall mats, but nothing out of the ordinary immediately.
He's definitely startled by the horses. I imagine, even though they're sort of lethargic and malnourished, that they maybe neigh a bit and kick up a bit as he arrives.
You are overpowered by the scent of stalls that have not been cleaned out in quite some time. Again, it's been weeks. There is a subtle stench of rot beneath that smell, and it definitely appears that at least one of the horses has died.
Adrian will very carefully move closer towards the sense of decay, still cupping his hand over his mouth and nose. But he does want to make sure that it's not been died of more natural causes and wasn't taken out the same way as the family.
Yeah, you proceed past this row of stalls and these horses, and you identify, in fact, 2 that have died. And what is your forensics?
0.
Okay. What's your intelligence?
16.
It doesn't take much to pick up on the fact that this was likely of natural causes. You don't see any blood. You don't see any stab wounds. You don't see anything to indicate that these deaths were brought about by a third party.
Yeah. I mean, it's in a macabre way sort of reassuring. But yeah, I think I'll just sort of like recoil a bit and go for air. But on the way towards the exit, is there any way I can maybe take like a quick glance and see if I notice anything out of the ordinary?
With a 60 in search, there's not a whole lot of like hiding places or locations where somebody could stash something. I mean, there are bins and containers and lockers with various supplies, saddles, horse bits, feed. There's tools, all of which appear to be relatively unmolested, exactly where they're supposed to be, and nothing that stands out to you as unusual or out of the ordinary.
And I imagine as I'm making my exit, I see Sarah coming down the way.
Yeah, we can say you took your time kind of looking through, especially taking your time to identify the source of that smell. And at this point, Sarah, we can say you're arriving at the barn.
Anything in there?
Horses. 2 of them dead.
Damn.
Not dead like the family, though. It seems like since they've been gone, no one's been able to feed them.
All right. Does it look, everything else, for the most part, look normal?
Normal as I think a horse stable should look, I guess. I've never been to one.
Sure.
I don't know how to feed horses, but maybe someone should feed them.
Yeah, I'll go take a look. And yeah, Sarah's gonna go in and see if she can find like some water and some grain or some feed.
Easy enough. Yeah, you're able to find some, but as you're going through and watering and feeding these horses, or attempting to do so, you both catch that one of the horses is staring at you. It's suddenly preternaturally calm and looking at both you, and then another, and then a third, until the barn is eerily silent and all of these horses are now looking at you.
I'm going to head to one of the stalls and open it and like get out of the way to see if like one of the horses do anything or go anywhere.
The horse in the stall that you open steps back. It gives a huff, continues to watch you, and then all of a sudden begins bucking and whinnying in fear. And again, you can see the whites of this thing's eyes as terror grips it, and the rest soon follows suit, almost as if it's backing up and away from a hunter.
Like from me specifically?
Oh yeah.
Sarah, get out of there.
Yeah, I'll like put my arms up, keep facing them, and just very slowly back away.
The barn is now alive with the sound of panicked animals, and the horses begin bucking and thrusting themselves against the doors of their stalls, attempting escape, attempting to put any kind of distance, whatever kind of distance they can, in between themselves and you.
Should we go back inside?
Make sand rolls.
That makes sense.
Ooh, success.
Adrian with a 46 out of 75, and Sarah with a 37 out of 49. You both lose 1. From the sheer strangeness and, dare I say, unnatural environment and atmosphere associated with this very odd animal behavior.
But we got out of the barn, okay?
Yep, out of the barn, no problem. You were able to get the door closed in time before the one horse bolted, and you are both out of there. But we will switch back to the house. Bear and Leah, are you two doing anything at this point?
I think Leah's started to move upstairs to see if she can see if there's any information she can find, like in their parents' bedrooms, maybe a computer, laptop that Adrian could try to check out.
Beryl search the kids' room then.
With your respective 60-ish ratings in search, I'm not going to make you roll. You go through the house methodically as you can without disturbing the scene, and you notice that Velasquez is doing the same at this point. You do identify what looks to be a family computer. It's a desktop. You identify tablets for the children specifically. But apart from the electronics, searching for files, anything like that, there's nothing out of the ordinary. There's nothing that catches your eye as being potentially evidence-worthy. There's, of course, books, ledgers, containing, an accurate count of farm supplies, of expenditures, things like that. There's, medical records for the kids. There's all the typical things you would expect a family to keep for both their farm and for their children.
But there's nothing about the foster that they had taken care of?
Well, so all the kids were adopted. But yeah, you are able to find records on Thomas. Looks like he was up to date on all of his vaccinations, on all of his shot records. You do find records of, and this is between all three of you, you do find records of therapy sessions, of visits that indicate developmental disabilities that have started to clear to a certain extent. Thomas was previously nonverbal completely and has since, in the years since he was adopted, back in 2003, by Susan and Emil Cunningham. And they had fostered him for a year, so in 2002, up to 2003.
So that's all the records we have of him? His, the therapy sessions that they happened? I know they're probably protected information because of HIPAA.
They have hard copies of the visit notes, and from what you can tell, it looks like that the nonverbal nature, the developmental disabilities that were suspected were attributed to past trauma. Although the nature of that trauma, no one was able to really discern because there was really no record of where Thomas had come from beyond the state. And of course, he wasn't talking. I will say the other children do not appear to have originated at Cornucopia House. They appear to be entirely, for lack of a better term, normal adoptions, relatively normal children, nowhere near the same level of trauma or, subsequent personality problems that was witnessed in Thomas.
Just gonna snap pictures of the notes and everything.
Okay. Putting them back where you found them?
Yeah, basically. But basically taking pictures so she can have records so they can look deeper into this if necessary.
So can I figure out which of those rooms was probably Thomas's?
Yeah, that's easy enough. The two younger siblings were in the same room. There is a third room that obviously belonged to an older teenage male. There are books. There are sports posters of Maryland-based teams, an unmade bed, clothing. Not a lot of personality to the room. It looks like it is what someone's idea of what a teenage boy's room should look like. but there's no writings that could be attributed to Thomas himself, like no journal, no diary. There's a tablet where looks like if you do a cursory search, it's not password protected or anything. It looks like there's a lot of YouTube videos on various nature documentaries. And a lot of the books, it appears, are related to animals, to wildlife, to the outdoors, to nature. But apart from that, nothing that would indicate a predisposition to conduct this kind of violence, especially against his own family.
No social media accounts where he might have exchanged messages or things like that?
Not from what you're able to find. Not on the tablet. Well, what's your human at?
My human is 50.
Okay, good enough. You would probably guess that the family was probably pretty strict on social media usage for their children.
Sure.
And probably made a concerted effort to keep them all off of it. And considering how introverted Thomas was, he probably didn't put up too much of a fight about getting his own social media account or phone. Adrian and Sarah, you make your way back to the house, I presume?
Yeah, but I think Adrian is a little shell-shocked still between the scent and the throwing up and the horses bucking wildly. So I think that on the way, he's just going to open the back door of one of the cars that we came in and just take a seat in the back seat. Sarah, you could, Daphne, you can go in. I need a minute.
So we'll say this search for you all probably took at least a couple hours. You're not doing as intensive a search as you probably would otherwise, because I would presume you don't want to disturb the crime scene any more than absolutely necessary.
That's my thinking.
Yeah, probably.
I'm a little bit worried about feeding the horses, but...
Sure. And Sarah, you did, if you wanted to speak with Adrian, seeing him open that back door, ask for a minute, kind of take a breath, you're free to do so.
Yeah, I just stop by on my way into the house and ask, everything okay?
Yeah, no, I'll be fine. Just a lot today. You saw how the horses were looking at us, right?
Yeah, but animal stuff has been par for the course with this one, so.
Why are they doing this?
My best guess that whatever it is that we're dealing with is old. Old as fuck. Something that the animals can sense, maybe on a level that we can't. Even ones that weren't on that property.
I think it's worse than that. I don't think it's a sense. I think someone's pulling on strings. When they looked at us, it was like something else was looking at us. Something else was watching us.
Yeah, maybe. If that is the case, then that's horrifying. Because is it just any animal then? That dog we found had been on the site years ago. So that made sense in the fucked up way that it did. But just random horses.
Maybe whatever this is, it can infect any animal. Maybe it doesn't need... I don't know, maybe it doesn't need connection to it, or maybe the kid who lived here, that was its connection. Maybe it all just leads back to that place that you all came from, that Cornucopia House.
Yeah, maybe. I'm gonna head back in. Take as long as you need.
Yeah, thank you. I'll be in a minute.
Yeah, and I'll leave him be and back in the house.
Okay. If you all decide you are done, Velasquez will say, I think it's time we call this in.
Did anybody check the garage yet?
We can say you did?
Yeah, okay. I'll just make a quick trip. Found nothing.
Nope. You find both family vehicles, a minivan and a pickup truck. Other than that, all the typical stuff you would expect to find in a garage. Nothing out of the ordinary, nothing that appears to be disturbed, like somebody was searching for something or tearing the place apart, nothing like that.
I think Adrian will eventually get his bearings and come back in, and he'll start looking for the computers and with Dr. Caron's help, hopefully, maybe start like either taking hard drives or, transferring their hard drives onto his external drive so he can investigate later. But yeah, just doing what he can to take information.
Yeah, I believe one of the pieces of equipment we gave you was like a forensics computer to do that sort of thing. So yeah, we'll say you go through and you begin ripping the contents of the various electronics around the house, the tablets, the family computer. That's easy enough. It'll take some time, but we can say it's kind of incorporated in this multi-hour search that's being conducted of the home. But yeah, you will have those contents to pour through later, should you wish. At this point, Velasquez will find you, Sarah, and say, I think it's time we call this in.
Yeah, okay, let's do it.
And she will get on the phone and put in a call to the Wicomico County Sheriff's Office and request a response. Now, do you all remain on site for that response?
I feel like it's probably better to get out of here, right?
Yeah, most of us at the very least.
Would it be weirder, though, for them to show up and be like, yeah, there were some FBI people here, but they got the hell out of here before you got here?
Well, there's no real witnesses. There's nobody really around. The nearest neighbor is out of eyeshot.
That's true.
So it would just depend on if you're comfortable leaving Velasquez to handle that portion, or, it's entirely up to you. Not saying that there's going to be any negative effects that come from either course of action. It really is up to you.
Okay.
Adrian could theoretically stay if you all wanted someone to stick around, just because the three of you do have like a little bit more weird history, and it might be a little bit more suspicious if you all were found there. I don't know. But I'm also okay just leaving too.
I'm worried that we'll miss something because we're not here during the investigation. But I guess we did search everything. Is there stuff that we weren't really able to search well because we didn't want to disturb it before they got here? Or is it we got pretty much everything that we could?
So you have a criminology, if I'm not mistaken, of 70?
71 now. Yeah.
I would say that even though it was a very cursory examination, you're pretty confident you found everything you're really going to find.
All right, yeah, then we can head out. I'll let Velasquez know that we're probably going to, just so it's not local, state, and federal people all here at one time, we're going to get out of here so we don't overwhelm what's going on.
I think the big thing that they can do that we can't is look for DNA evidence and stuff like that. But I don't think any of us think that anybody other than Thomas did this. So DNA evidence will just show that he did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, once you can get DNA from him and perform a comparison, yeah.
Yeah.
But we're also that's not our goal. We're not here to find him to bring him to justice or anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Velasquez will look at you, Sarah, and say, okay, is there anything you don't want me to tell them?
That we were here?
Well, I think, you can mention that we're consulting on a related case. That's not public knowledge, but it's kind of, people know that. I'll leave my card if she wants to give it to them, if they have any, kind of to make it more official, if they have any questions they want to follow up on. But since we were here because we were following a lead on our case, I don't think it's crazy that we were here.
All right, thinking about it, if it is going to be known that you were there, it would be unusual if you left.
Yeah.
Okay.
Does anyone actually know that we've been there?
No.
Just Velasquez.
So I think that if we're just going to be invisible, let's just be invisible then. And let her be the face of this whole thing for right now. It also seems to me too she wants to sort of be in that kind of position. She doesn't mind fielding it as long as it means that it's not going to be detrimental to her department.
We're also on a deadline here, so I don't think we can stay.
That's a good point too.
And I will also say it is the weekend. So the one remaining real lead you have is the adoption records, which you're really not going to be able to get access to until Monday.
Unless we break in.
Unless you break in.
Yeah, I'm fine leaving.
Let's go.
Yeah, and just Velasquez, I think we weren't here, but Velasquez was probably just checking up on a lead and then found the bodies and called it in.
Velasquez will say, yeah, I mean, that's easy enough. We got the facial recognition results. I mean, we have every reason to be here to follow up on him as a potential suspect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys would rather not be here, given what you do, sure, that's I'll cover.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
All right, I'll keep you posted if they find anything.
You have our number.
But I am going to say, just so you all know, once they get here, the first thing they're going to do is put out an APB on Thomas Cunningham.
Which means we better find them before they do.
Yep. If we can.
So we will say you all make your way out of the remains of the Cunningham farm and begin driving back to presumably Zion.
On the way back, as we're talking about what happened, especially I assume that you guys would tell us about the horses and how they looked at you and were afraid of you.
I don't think Adrian would say anything.
Okay.
Unless he was provoked to.
What about Sarah?
I mean, if someone asked, like, hey, what'd you find in the barn?
Yeah, I think yeah, I would ask what you found in the barn. So in response to that, and hearing about the idea, that these animals are being controlled, Bear would say, yeah, but what if it's not that? What if it's not the animals that are being changed, but something about us? You said they were afraid of you. What if there's something about us that makes animals afraid of us?
You did smell something.
That weird fucking smell.
Yeah. I didn't, but you did. What's happening?
No idea.
Just to clarify, or just to recap, or just talking out loud. Currently, Cornucopia House is under intense investigation and has people crawling all over it.
Correct.
An APB is put out on Thomas Cunningham because he's now a major suspect in the murder of his family.
And in the murder of Carrie Oden.
That too, because we have proof that he was there because of the facial recognition.
Yep.
Our options for lead right now is the adoption records, correct?
Correct. Adrian, your law is pretty high, isn't it?
My law is 50.
With your law, I would say you would have more than enough at this point to try to make the argument legitimately to try to get a warrant for the adoption records to get those unsealed, because Thomas Perez is connected to Cornucopia House and is now connected to these murders. And you've got two other suspects. So the probable cause is there. However, the legitimate route will take time, which you are now on a clock because of Sarah's discussion with Pizzarelli, where he essentially requested, but demanded, that your narrative be ready for Monday. But if you all wanted to try to make the case for a day or two of breathing room so you could try to get access to those records, you could certainly attempt to do so. But I will say, even then, knowing the criminal justice system and the bureaucracy involved, it would still probably take far more time than what you currently have to go the legitimate route.
So I'm all for illegitimacy right now. So whatever we need to do, let's do it illegitimately.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do it.
So you've got about 2 hours, a little over, on the drive back to Zion. And I imagine it's a very relatively quiet car ride, unless there was anything anybody wanted to do on the way back.
If I had time, I'd like to sort of start going through and cataloging what was on Thomas's family computers and devices. But if we don't, I don't know. I understand.
Oh, yeah. You've got more than enough time to start the process, especially just kind of riding in the back seat, going through the laptop. What you find isn't all that different from what you saw on Susan Cunningham's social media profile. It's pretty mundane in its simplicity, right? A lot of family photos, a lot that show an unsmiling Thomas Perez Cunningham.
Yeah, it just means that it's an even bigger mystery as to how Thomas got connected with these people.
Yeah, that's the big question mark.
So, there's nothing here. There's no way that Thomas was able to reach out or connect with these people.
I mean, we could barely find them. How are a bunch of kids going to find each other after all that?
Not through the typical, normal, mundane channels.
No.
Maybe you're right. Maybe it's not mundane. Back at the stables, when the horses looked at us, it was instant, and they recognized us. It wasn't like they were curious. It was like they knew who we were. And we've seen the cat back at the caseworker's house, and we've seen the way that the animals behave. But what if they're not just the animals? Maybe something's, if not come over Thomas, but maybe like something connected them together. Someone, something.
Like the animals told him to do it?
No. Maybe it's whatever's been doing things to the animals, and whatever made the caseworker's brain smooth due to whatever sort of effect it had on her. Maybe the thing that's behind that is somehow not just connected to Thomas, but is connecting Thomas to these other people. And maybe this is all like some great work that whoever's behind this is, they've got their fingers, they've got their, I don't know, it sounds crazy.
I still don't see how the animals could help Thomas to find these other people.
I'm saying that whatever fucking thing is doing this is talking to everything. It's talking to everybody. It's talking to the horses. It's talking to the dogs. It's talking to the cats. It's talking to the bats. It's talking to Thomas.
I mean, it sounds maybe too simple to sum it up this way, but it could simply be that they just felt compelled by whatever this force is. We might not ever find a concrete, this is how they found each other and this is how they're speaking.
Everyone make a sand roll for me. I just want to see some. Adrian, you failed your sanity roll with an 87 out of 74. Sarah, you failed with a 72 out of 48. Leah, you failed with a 72 out of 66. And Sam, you succeeded with a 29 out of 48. For those of you who failed, what is the one question, if you had to pick, what is one question you would want answered?
We each get one, or we have to agree on one?
Agree on one.
Adrian's big question is who is behind all of this? Or rather,
Who's pulling the strings?
Who's pulling the strings? Is there someone pulling the strings? And if there is, who is it?
So I'm going to give this one to you, Adrian, simply because this was similar to questions that you were asking at the site, at the Cunningham farm. Continue to ask. This is what's nagging at your brain right now on every conceivable level, subconscious and conscious. You don't know how you come to this realization. And there's probably a significant part of you that doesn't want to know. But you have this revelation that physics, indeed all of humanity's sciences, are a paltry attempt to explain away or deny an active and universal hunger at work in the cosmos. You lose one sanity, but you gain +1 to your unnatural skill.
Yeah, I think Adrian just gets really quiet after his little outburst with Bear, as a sort of realization sinks in, starts worming its way through his brain, and he just gets sort of eerily quiet. Like he has his laptop still open, but the screen is just, he's not engaging with the laptop at all. It's just sort of casting a light on his face.
So, anything else happen on the ride back, or do we just reconvene at the tried and true hotel?
I think after that outburst, Adrian is just in silence. He is just taking everything in, and I think he's also like feeling maybe a little bit guilty for yelling at Bear, but I think he's just too unnerved by everything to say anything.
I think when we get back to the hotel, if we're to that point, he's going to try and find a time where he can just talk to Adrian, like separately.
Yeah, Sarah, what do you do when you get back?
Probably just go into the room to decompress for a second and be like, hey, let's meet up again soon, but nothing like super pressing.
Same for you, Leah.
I don't know, honestly. I don't know what she can do.
That's okay. If Leah just wants to take a second, take a breather for herself, that's all well and good as well.
Yeah, I think that's all she can really do at this time.
Okay. So yeah, Barry, you're able to pull Adrian aside.
Yeah, probably as we're leaving the car, Bear will just grab Adrian as they're walking in and say, hold on a second. You got a problem?
What?
I got mad at you. You got mad at me. What are we going to do? Are we going to keep this up?
I wasn't mad at you.
Okay, well, you kind of yelled at me.
Sorry, it's just this case is my first field case, and it's been a lot, and it's been a lot of stress, and I'm not as cool-headed as Agent Daphne. I know that I still have some stuff to learn, that I have to get a thicker skin, but
Yeah, no. I don't know if any of us are ever going to be as cool as Daphne. She's like got ice water in her vein, man. But yeah, look, I've been doing this for a while, and I still feel like I'm fucking it up. The whole thing with the lady at the apartment. Sometimes I think it'd be better if I wasn't here.
you are, and I am, and Sarah and Leah are too. So I guess we just have to deal with reality.
All right, well, I get it. This is a lot. All right, just wanted to check.
Yeah, no, we're good.
Okay. Yeah. What we gonna fucking do? We gotta think of something by Monday.
I have an idea, but maybe we can meet up a little bit later and talk to the others about it.
All right. Yeah, see you in a bit.
Yeah. All right. Bye.
Bye.
So while you are kind of decompressing and just taking a minute to catch your breath, Sarah, you get a phone call from a familiar number associated with Pizzarelli.
I answer.
Hey, you hear about this mass murder at this farm there in Maryland?
Yeah, we were just there.
Okay. For Cunningham, right? Or Perez, one of the guys we ID'd on the facial wreck.
Yeah, his whole family.
God damn. All right. Yeah, this is reaching a fever pitch here. I'm gonna have to let you guys loose to go after these kids at some point. But look, we gotta put a bow on this shit at Cornucopia House. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Working on it.
I know you are. But yeah, what do you need from me?
Well, what's more important to you, the bow or the deadline?
That sounds like a loaded gun of a question.
We have a couple more avenues to try, but we are having some trouble with the adoption records. And while this murder definitely gives us what we need to go through the official channels, you and I both know that will not be fast enough.
Okay.
So 9 a.m. Monday.
Got it.
I'll do what I can.
I can probably push it 24 hours. I can get you Tuesday.
Okay. That gives us some breathing room.
All right. Listen, this isn't me setting this. I hope you know that.
Yeah, if it was you, it would have been yesterday.
Fucking smartass. Glad to see not much has changed.
Yeah, well, someone has to be.
The director's breathing down my goddamn neck about this whole thing. I will play defense. I will get you your 24 hours. But any more than that, my head's going to roll too.
All right, noted.
Do you need help with the warrant?
If you can expedite anything, we'll take it.
I'm not so sure about expediting, but maybe we can put our heads together, throw something together. We'll smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, we might as well.
All right. Give me till Shit, give me all this time tomorrow. I'll have something for you.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
I'll hang up.
Yeah. She'll hang up and just take like a deep breath, kind of center herself, and then text the team to let them know deadlines change to Tuesday.
Yeah, because it's currently Saturday, correct?
It is. You're getting into the early hours of the evening on Saturday. So here's what we can do. You'll have Sunday. You can, continue to brainstorm, do what you can, with it being a weekend and us moving at the speed of government bureaucracy, which holds banker hours.
Well, Adrian, again, is nothing if not stubborn. And so he would definitely try to forge something again, if possible.
Yeah, no, it's possible. So I believe last time I had you roll bureaucracy with a bonus with Sarah's help. If you want to give it another shot, roll bureaucracy without a bonus. Or law, whichever's higher, but I believe your bureaucracy's higher.
41 out of 74.
Yeah, with a 41 out of 74. Kind of with maybe your head in the game a little more than it was previously. You're able to kick out a pretty convincing warrant. And even forge a digital signature for a judge.
Yeah, as a response to the group text that Sarah sent out saying the deadline's been pushed up, Adrian just texts back, "We don't need it."
On my way is what she'll text back then. And she's going to go track down Adrian, see what he has.
Yeah, he'll be in his room. She'll see that there are 2 laptops set up on his bed. One looks a bit more professional. The other one that was covered in like stickers. Clearly this is like his gaming laptop. It looks to be like an idle title screen. Probably something like StarCraft or something. So I think he just picks up his personal laptop, the one with covered in stickers, and he flips to the window that has the PDF that he's made.
So with a 30 law, Sarah, and with a 40 in bureaucracy, this is pretty convincing. Like if somebody had provided this warrant to you, you would probably accept it without a second glance.
Nice work.
It took me a couple tries, but we got there.
All right. Well, hopefully this gives us that last piece of this puzzle that we need.
Sooner than later, I hope.
Yeah. When do they open?
Monday, 8 a.m.
All right. Monday, 8 a.m.
And you also get a phone call, Sarah, because you're just the point of contact for everybody.
Yeah.
From Velasquez.
And I answer.
Yeah. Hey, just wanted to give you a quick update. They're just about done here at the scene. Everything you guys spotted is exactly what they found. Parents and kids were stabbed to death. Hunting knife looks like the weapon of choice. Looks like one assailant, right-handed. They didn't identify any other blood spatters or DNA or anything from any other parties. So we're putting out an APB on Thomas Perez.
All right. Yeah. Thanks for the update. We got a warrant. So.
No shit.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Do you want to, fuck, they're not open till Monday, are they?
Yeah. I mean, unless you know a guy.
Yeah. You know what? Let me make some phone calls. I'll see if I can get a clerk to let us in on Sunday.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah. I need to take a breather. I'll give you a call first thing tomorrow morning.
Yeah. Sounds good.
All right. And she'll hang up.
Okay. We might be able to get in Sunday. Velasquez is going to make some calls.
Well, that's good. Yeah, if we can get in there tomorrow even, that would be amazing.
Yeah. And I guess till then we just wait. So take a breather.
How do you stay so cool about all this? I feel like I've asked you, and maybe you've told me, but I feel like whatever you might have told me before isn't the real way that you keep it together. So just be honest with me.
Part of it is I've been doing it a while. Another part is I don't ask the big questions. This idea that Well, there's something that's pulling the strings. I don't know that I need to answer that right at this minute, so I don't worry about it. I'll answer that when the question arises. It's easier to do this kind of work if you take it in baby steps. Don't try to realign your understanding of the universe all in 1 minute.
What if that's all it takes is a minute?
No, there's not any coming back from that. So you ask me how I do it, I decide not to take that minute.
What if we don't have a choice?
Probably happen eventually.
Thanks.
Really, I try not to worry about it, which I know sounds stupid and far too simple to work, but I worried about every little piece of this and stayed up at night wondering about the cosmos, and I've got people in front of me who I need to keep alive, so focus on that.
Okay.
So, the evening is yours. We'll start with Bear. Bear, is there anything you want to do?
Yeah, I think Bear is going to, like pretty early in the evening, like maybe right after we get back, Bear's going to look up like a pet store or someplace where he can find animals in the area, or a zoo that would be open, you know, in the evening on a Saturday, and try to go there.
Okay. Yeah, there's a nearby like Petco that is open till like 9 p.m. that you could ostensibly drive to.
And they have live animals there?
Yeah, they have like the hamsters and stuff like that.
Yeah, little guys.
Yeah, cool. All right, yeah. Petco sounds good.
So we'll stick with you. You get in the car and you make your way to this Petco and head inside, and typical mid-2000s pop is playing over the speakers. It's not very busy at all. Just a couple of employees, maybe a couple people walking through with their dogs, but relatively quiet, relatively sparse. What's the play?
I'm basically I'm gonna go to like cash register or somebody, you know, near the front who's obviously works there, and say, do you guys have any animals for sale here, like hamsters or something? Could I see one?
I mean, yeah, we got guinea pigs, we got hamsters. Pick your poison, and they'll kind of take you over to the area where they've got these animals in these glass cases. Very small animals. There are also some like cats up for adoption that are in against one of the far walls behind their glass encasements. You've got a few choices there.
I think Bear's actually probably going to go for a cat. And he's going to say, just, can I pet it?
Yeah, let me go ahead and open up the room. We'll get you sat down. Looking for something for the kids?
Yeah, it's my daughter's birthday, and, you know, she's always wanted a cat, so.
Nice. Okay, yeah. And they'll open the door, kind of sit you down in this little area and bring out the cat of your choice.
All right, yeah, so I'm just going to, like, pet the cat and see how it reacts to me.
So the cat kind of just obviously isn't too keen on having been disturbed and being brought out here and, you know, sit down on the floor by the employee, but it eventually kind of sits back on its hindquarters and just kind of lazily looks up at you, calm.
I'm going to reach out and pet it.
It lets you pet it.
So the cat, I would say, has pretty normal cat reaction to me.
It does, but the employee says, man, that's the calmest I've seen her since she's got here.
Really?
Yeah, I guess you got the magic touch.
Yeah, animals like me. Most animals.
It stares up at you.
What is do I notice any reaction, my reaction to the cat, basically?
Nothing innate, nothing subconscious.
No smells?
No smells. No unusual odors. Just a docile cat.
I'm going to say, didn't I see you had a tiger back there, right? I kind of like the way tigers look. The tiger cat, obviously.
Yeah, you want to see that one?
Yeah.
And the employee does the same. Brings back the cat that you were interacting with and brings out this second cat. And the reaction is almost unsettlingly the same. Sits and stares.
Yeah, thanks. I don't know. I'm starting to think this cat thing's a bad idea. She's gotta get to be a little bit more responsible before I do this. But thanks for showing me.
Oh yeah, no problem. You sure? Do you want to look at another one? You sure you don't want to get one of these?
No. It's a big commitment. I'm not sure she's ready for it.
Okay, well, yeah, no problem. Just feel free to come back if you change your mind.
All right. I'll think about it. I'll just think about it some more. Talk to my wife,
Sounds good.
But thank you. Thanks for showing me.
Yeah, no problem. Have a good night.
All right. And I'll go back to the hotel, and I think I'll probably text everybody and just say, went to the pet store. Pets are looking at me weird.
And this time, since that probably took a little bit. Adrian, was there anything you wanted to do?
I think he's just going to chat with his e-girlfriend.
Sounds good.
Yeah, he's going to chat with Rooster Legs for a bit. Her real name's Micah. But yeah, I think he's just going to try to talk to her, but he's obviously, not going to say anything too much about the case other than he's finally out in the field and he's freaking out a little bit about it and, hoping that whatever she has to say will calm him down.
Oh yeah, she's all about it. Her boyfriend is a big bad FBI agent and he's out in the field saving the world and she thinks you're a superhero and she can never do what you do. And it's got to take real guts to go out there every day and do the sort of things that you do, and just probably reassuring that somebody out there thinks this is the coolest goddamn thing they've ever heard. Even though there's no details, there's almost an allure in the fact that you can't say much, and it kind of just reels her in even more, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And then after a little bit of talking, I think that he'll finally get up the sort of strength to do some gaming with her and still do some co-op, probably WoW or something like that. If not that, then StarCraft. But yeah, they'll just sort of spend the night gaming, and he's going to use that time to sort of distract himself from, the existential crisis that he came under in the car ride on the way back.
Dr. Caron, how about you?
Leah is going to go over those notes again that she had snapped pictures of. And she's going to do it in the context of knowing what she had seen at Cornucopia House the first time, how all of the children were silent. And I think she's going to try to do some research on why people wouldn't start talking or forming a language or something like that.
Do you have anything in psychotherapy?
10, that's it. So she's probably read a textbook or two and that's it.
Got it. And what's your human?
I'm human to 39.
With your human and with your baseline psychotherapy, as well as your medical background, what you've seen and experienced in the past, there's this theory that's nagging at the back of your brain that these children were essentially trained to be nonverbal, that they were likely punished violently for speaking, and they were conditioned to forget language.
Okay.
To them, speaking and pain is likely tightly linked.
I think she won't share that over text with the rest of them, but she let people know that this is what she's been thinking about last night. Otherwise, after figuring that out and remembering everything that she'd seen at Cornucopia House, she's going to try to not think this has been enough for one day.
And Sarah, how about you?
I think just doing her best to collect herself and get a good night's sleep, honestly. I don't think there's anything super pressing that she needs to do until next morning.
Well, with that, you all eventually settle in for the evening. Maybe after an hour or so, you get that text from Bear saying that he went to a pet store and animals were still acting weird around him. Does anybody respond to that?
You went out to test that? Is literally what Leah texted.
Bear would text back, yeah, it's really bugging me.
Animals don't have language, not like humans do. Is there a commonality between the fact that all these animals are reacting to us and how these children were basically forced? Okay, when she says that, stops, and then she's like, I will talk to you guys in the morning because there's something I think I figured out overnight, but I can't do this right now.
Gerrald texts back, okay, now I really want to know.
Yeah, go take a shower, go sleep.
And with that, everyone settles in to get some semblance of rest. And we'll pick back up the next morning with presumably everybody reconvening in Sarah's hotel room.
Okay. Leah, once everybody's there, will lay out what she had seen and what she has been thinking. And all of these connections have been happening with the language. And all those children back at Cornucopia House were basically conditioned into being nonverbal. And I can't help but notice that everything that whatever this thing is acting through doesn't communicate like you or I would.
What do you mean?
We speak. We have a language. We have a way to express our thoughts, express what we see in this world. But animals don't. The only thing animals have is the noises they can make, the reactions they can have, and then their actions in turn to a stimulus. Those children were also preternaturally calm last time. Like they knew we were coming.
I took it more as they were just shell-shocked. Or traumatized, like you said.
Trauma can explain it, but traumatized children would probably have just stayed in that house and not gone for the animals in the barn.
Yeah, I was thinking about the animals last time too, especially when you're talking about the kids being like punished in order to get them not to talk. We see that they let the kids bond with the animals and then they took the animals away and punished the animals to get the kids to behave. I don't know. That's just fucked up.
It seems like whenever those children try to form a connection to something outside of themselves, like the animals, each other, if language was denied them, if communication was denied them, how would they have been able to connect to each other? And I'm wondering if whatever they had found is what they had used to connect to each other and to the animals. And that's also acting in everything we've been through.
Adrian, you recall that one of those final stills from Carrie Houghton's murder with the woman you now know as Elle Gable going to a camera. She really would have no reason or ability to know where it was looking, where it was pointing, and holding up Carrie Houghton's teeth and grinning, almost like a challenge to whoever she knew would end up watching it.
Teeth. One of the things that those kids did to that caseworker, they took her teeth.
Yeah, that was in the autopsy.
They didn't just take her teeth. One of them, the girl, Elle, I remember she, at the end of the video, she showed the teeth to the camera in her hands, like presented them.
The camera was hidden though, right?
Yeah, I mean, but it's like she showed it to the camera, like as if to say, see, like, I don't know if it was a challenge for the person watching it to come find them or like a threat or what it was, but it just seemed weird at the time. But maybe there's something to this. That mouths, teeth, defanging, helplessness.
She was still alive when they took those teeth out.
Maybe the kids wanted her to know what it felt like to be defanged, to be rendered unable to speak.
They were left voiceless because she was unable to report what was happening at Cornucopia House.
She didn't have a voice because they were controlling what she was saying.
Are they the same then? Because whatever was forcing Carrie Houghton to give false information about Cornucopia House, how can that be the same as those who have been, whatever is connecting those who've been silenced? Could it be the same? Could it be trying to make more of itself?
I don't know, maybe it's like a splinter cult or something, or maybe whatever's been driving this has new motives, new motivations. Maybe they don't have motivations. But they have to, right? Like, none of this is random.
What do you guys think?
Only thing I can think of is you also need your teeth to eat.
Without your teeth, you hunger. Without care, you really can't eat without teeth. Life becomes miserable without them.
Yeah.
Anybody who wants to make an N times 5 roll, go ahead and roll. So Leah with an 89 out of 85 on that N times 5, Bear with a 63 out of 40, Adrian with a 6 out of 80, and Sarah with a 9 out of 80. You can't hunt without teeth, and that makes you prey. And that's what this is, on some level. Hunters that recognize other hunters and prey.
Does he say that?
I don't think Adrian says that out loud. He's thinking on it, but I feel like Agent Daphne would understand that more than he would.
I don't think she says anything right now, but it's something she's clocked. Yeah, I'm going to mull on it a little bit, and she's going to mull on it a little bit. Whatever reason for the teeth and the killing, maybe we'll find those answers along the way, but ideally, hopefully, Velasquez gets back to us today and we can get those records and we can just find them, stop it from continuing.
Have you talked to her today?
No, not yet.
It's early yet.
Well, I mean, kind of on a time crunch here, right?
Tom is bad, right? You said you had the warrant?
Yeah, we have a warrant now.
And we have until Tuesday.
Yes.
Well, I was being a little bit more sarcastic with the whole timeline thing. I know we got it pushed up, but...
Oh, okay. Sorry, that went right over my head.
No, it's fine. Sarcasm is just kind of a coping mechanism, but also getting this done as quickly as possible would be the best kind of coping mechanism.
Have we decided what path we're going to take? How we're going to actually tie it up in a neat bow?
I don't think there is a neat bow to tie it up with.
It isn't, but we need to figure out who we're going to pin this on.
We need to pin this on someone?
The Cornucopia House investigation specifically, who dropped the ball and who gets the blame for it.
Oh, yeah. Shit.
The dead cops, honestly, is the easiest thing.
Okay, I just wanted to be sure.
Yeah, but how were they responsible for this?
I mean, they didn't dig enough. They didn't, whether it was negligence or they were involved somehow in this child abuse ring. They didn't do what they needed to uncover the reality of it, and they just summed it up to like a drug thing and then moved on with their lives. So I think it's going to be pretty simple to just say they didn't do their job.
But then will that fall back on Velasquez?
I don't think if we specifically name these two, we're not saying her department, we're saying these two who are dead and cannot otherwise defend themselves.
What if they did something to cover something up? Even if it's connected or not, it's that kind of stink on an investigation. That'll catch all the headlines and nobody will think about anything else.
You mean, did they actually, or should we plant something?
Yeah.
Me and Adrian, you're pretty good with the computer.
I mean, they'll believe what we tell them, right? Kind of what our job is. Or my job, anyway.
If we could get some kind of like a document in their file and show that, they covered it up.
Or that they were just aware and didn't follow up with it.
Right.
Yeah, inaction is an action.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe we can doctor up some suspicious money transactions or something?
I don't know, I guess we could just figure out when we get there. Otherwise, we know who to pin this on, and I don't think it's... I mean, these guys have been dead for a while, right?
So, from their investigation, they said that old lady was harmless, right? That they pinned it on some other guy. What if we gave evidence? There's got to be some evidence of this, right? Because she was what she was. What if we gave evidence that she was the main one, and they ignored that?
Whoever would like to, Could be one, could be multiple. Make a bureaucracy roll, please. All right, so Bear, unfortunately, sorry, with a 69 out of 60, nice. Sarah with a 7 out of 43. Leah with a 21 out of 50. Adrian with a 17 out of 74. Two things here that you think of at various points in this conversation. Number one, if you have details of the investigation that were not public knowledge and were not federal knowledge, and there would be no reason for you all to have access to that information, it is likely that further attention and blame, at least internally, will be focused on Velasquez, being the only surviving member of that initial investigation. Number two, you do know for a fact, based on what Velasquez provided, that the shed with the abusive material, as well as the ledgers and the books documenting transactions of that material, are more than enough evidence to illustrate that something was either missed or ignored. Because in your respective experiences, that alone is enough to identify it as a prolific distribution ring for child pornography.
Yeah, I don't think we need to get more complicated than just being like, they either missed it or they were grossly negligent. I don't think we need to prove like, hey, they were involved, but I feel like that question would come up anyway.
And at that point, it is just a matter of protecting Velasquez.
Yeah.
Adrian will shrug and say, do we need to protect Velasquez?
If we can, I think we should.
I feel like she'll make a stink if we don't.
Yeah, she knows that we're not who, or at the very least, I'm not who my ID I am. So we don't want to give her any reason to dig deeper than that.
Because it's mutually assured destruction at that point.
Yeah, I'm going to ask for a criminology roll from Sarah on this one. Yeah, 56 out of 71. You know that now Velasquez has a wealth of guilty knowledge. And if she were to become a problem, sanctions would be in order.
Yeah, what Daphne or Sarah is not saying is that she doesn't want to kill Velasquez, and that's the direction it would have to go if things went bad. I mean, she's a friendly. Let's keep her a friendly as long as possible. If that is not possible, we'll deal with that in that moment. But
Also with that role, Sarah, you could probably make the argument to Pizzarelli and the program in general that Velasquez has been assessed and steps could be taken to transition her from a friendly to a full-blown member of the program.
okay.
Well, here, why don't we just, because like I feel like we're sort of getting ahead of ourselves here. Maybe let's just work on getting the files from the adoption agency, and then once we have everything sort of compiled, we can like work with Velasquez to see what her approach at it wants to be. Maybe she does want to reposition into the agency. Maybe she doesn't. Maybe she wants to stay with state. We don't know that yet. And like we're still investigating, like we don't know what else we're going to find.
Yeah.
If Sarah can get Velasquez on the horn to try and get the agency open today, I mean that's really what all Adrian cares about right now.
Yeah, I'll send her a quick text and just ask if there's any update.
Oh yeah, almost immediately you get a call back.
Ah, nice. I'll answer. I'll put her on speakerphone.
Yeah, hey, it's Velasquez. I got a clerk coming down. They're going to have the place open at 11.
Perfect. We'll meet you there.
Sounds good.
Right. 11.
Amazing. That's great. We can go find the records and we can go through them today, and we could maybe even just be done with this today, right?
Don't get too hopeful.
Yeah, it's never rarely that easy.
Okay. I will. He looks to Sarah when he says this. I will take it one baby step at a time.
She gives a little smile and like approving nod. Yeah, let's head to the record place archive thing.
So, for the sake of brevity, we'll say you all arrive in Annapolis at the Dr. Edward C. Popinfuse State Archives building, where child welfare files from 2001 and before were moved there for storage, and of course were not digitized. But Velasquez meets you there with a clerk. You present them with the warrant. They accept it at face value, no questions asked, and allow you back into the archives to begin your search.
Search we must.
Just to clarify, we're looking at paper records of like this whole investigation, right?
You are.
So anything we steal from here is probably lost forever?
Yeah.
Okay. Good to know.
Thank goodness for camera phones, but if there's stuff I think that Bear wants to steal...
Yeah, I don't know if I'm smart enough to figure out what to steal, but it's the fact that it's a possibility.
Okay, so you're back among these stacks of moldering boxes full of hard copy files, starting to yellow with age. Some of them. But yeah, everyone go ahead and make a search roll. Adrian with a 47 out of 60. Sarah with an 18 out of 84. Leah with a 47 out of 60. And Bear with a 14 out of 62. This is going to take you a couple hours, but you pretty much have the run of the place. The lone clerk here on a Sunday morning is more than happy to let you just do your thing. The children recovered from Cornucopia House in 2001 were assigned to one of the 3 active youth facilities in existence at the time. Each stay lasted at most 9 months. Unable to handle the burden of a child in need, something called bus therapy occurs when the state, company, or school district in charge of a child's welfare ships him off to a different custodian, quote-unquote, better suited to meet their needs. In reality, it's a legal way for institutions to foist their underage burdens onto each other, enticing out-of-state concerns to take responsibility in exchange for the federal assistance money attached to each case file. After their rescue, the children of Cornucopia House were again abandoned, each essentially sold to whatever adoption agency, treatment facility, religious rehabilitation camp, or other concern that thought it could transform a child from state deficit into private profit. The tracks have been obscured so as to make it nearly impossible to trace their paths through life, and accountability for their neglect has been scrubbed away like fingerprints from a murder weapon. The victims of Cornucopia House disappeared into the idiot machine like the 500,000 other children churned through its guts every year. So what you find is that 7 of the children were sent to the Arnold Springs Children's Home, which is run by the state of Maryland. 6 were sent to a Baltimore-based mental health corporation called Peace Love Incorporated. The last 6 children were sent to another state-run orphanage called Mary's Place, but it was soon defunded by the governor's smart growth budget cuts as an overdeveloped rural institution. After 2 months in the facility, all the children were shipped to housing outside of the state. And then finally, most of the survivors were shipped across the country alone. 4 children that received this so-called bus therapy, including El Gable, were sent to King Torino Children's Refuge in North Carolina. This was apparently due to sharing a similar set of diagnoses: oppositional defiant disorder, conduct disorder, ADHD, anxiety, and selective mutism. The highest concentration of follow-up material based on these findings probably exists there. There were some local adoptions, one of whom was Thomas Perez. You find that there was one survivor, Leah Bondarenko, who died at the age of 15 in 2008. She was killed attempting to hop a Norfolk Southern freight train passing through Baltimore. There's also Samuel Ball. He was adopted by Clarence and Becky McLeod in 2002 at the age of 6. They changed his name to match theirs. They unofficially, illegally returned him to the state in 2005 at the age of 9 by leaving him at a social services office. The McLeods claimed they were unfit to parent Samuel after he allegedly attempted to kill their biological daughter with a kitchen knife. Finally, it is not at all hard to discover the list of caseworkers that had been assigned to Cornucopia House, of whom Carrie Houghton was one. She handled the case before she was dismissed from her position in mid-2001. Her work record was pretty spotty after that. Her predecessor, as you gleaned from the emails and the information obtained from her apartment, was Franklin Price. But that's pretty much what you got. And it's disconcerting just how gruesomely the system has failed these kids.
So we have our scapegoat. we pin it on the people who are supposed to deal with the kids, and we say these kids were pissed off because they were abused, and they came after the lady who allowed that abuse in their minds, and the state failed them by not, dealing with them properly.
By not giving them what they needed to recover from the trauma that was inflicted upon them.
So here's a question. What do we do with all this documentation?
Well, I mean, I've got storage. If you want, I can just sort of camera phone, put the documents in a cloud or on the storage that I have.
Would they let us photocopy here?
Oh, absolutely.
Or we could scan them and you could keep them that way.
I'm sorry, jog my memory. What was the case that we were told to get our hands off of?
Yeah, so there was an FBI kidnapping case that was sealed that Velasquez, Baswell, and Dale had run up against when identifying the Cornucopia House survivors.
Oh. And all those children, they were given fake, new names, right? They were adopted out or given new names?
Yep.
But there's not really anything here that I think implicates Delta Green, right? For us.
Oh, I agree. I don't think we need to take anything, but I think Adrian is going to try and be thorough, and I don't see him making hard copies because he's less tactile than that. So I think that he would just take pics and upload them to his private server or whatever.
You also have access to a printer scanner.
Oh, okay, like a flatbed scanner.
Yep.
Okay, then then he'll do that then.
Okay. So you did walk away with specific names, specifically Leah Bondarenko, Samuel Ball, and Thomas Perez.
Yeah, and that adoption agency.
Yep. King Torino. And there's also Franklin Price.
What was the closest thing to us right now? Because we're in Maryland. I heard something was located in Maryland.
There were 3 state-run facilities, youth facilities, Arnold Springs, Peace Love, and Mary's Place. Mary's Place has been shut down. Most of the survivors were sent down to King Torino.
And that's probably the place where we'll get the most records of psychological examinations.
Right.
Can we use our warrant to get these kids' records?
You would have to draft a different one specifically for King Torino.
Okay.
That's in North Carolina, or is that in...
North Carolina.
Yeah, okay.
So the only other remaining lead is Franklin Price. You do know that he is in long-term care, but I don't believe anybody has confirmed where.
Yeah, Adrian will start to look up, if he can, where he might be located. But he will, before doing that research, ask the others, is this something we want to follow up with, this Franklin Price dude?
I feel like we're grasping at straws here, so any lead we got.
All right. And then, he'll see if he can do some digging.
I won't even make you roll. It's a pretty easy find. You find that Franklin Price has been receiving non-economic loss benefits owing to psychological competence since 1998 at the age of 40. Now 58, he's a resident of the Charlotte's Rest Veterans Home, located south of Washington, D.C., where he has lived for nearly 2 decades.
Guess we go up to D.C. if this is what we want to do.
Or do we want to split up?
I feel like splitting up into different states probably isn't a good idea.
Right.
I will say, your marching orders right now are the cover-up, and this would fall outside of that.
Okay.
At this point, you can check off the adoption records. Now it's really just a matter of making your case to Pizzarelli.
And I think, Adrian knows his directive too. So I think that I think he's struggling though. He's struggling to sort of fight against his curiosity, but he will mention that maybe we could just do that later. But for now, I think we've just got to focus on getting this cover up taken care of. And the sooner we do that, the sooner it's out of our hair. The sooner we don't have to think about it, or at least think about how it's going to destroy our careers or our lives.
At this point, Velasquez does duck her head in and say, how we doing back here? Y'all need help?
Perfect timing.
What's the plan?
Yeah, I mean, aside from nobody doing their goddamn job to take care of these kids, we have a couple things we can do next. But we should talk, Everything that we're finding here is that your two coworkers back in the day really fucked up, and that's something we need to report on, but I want to make sure it doesn't fall back on you.
Okay. Jesus. Yeah. Let's, you want to head back and we can discuss?
Yeah, I have a couple ideas, but I want to run them by you first.
All right. This guy is aching to get out of here, so if y'all are done, let's lock up and, I guess head out. And with that, we will bring tonight's session to a close. Thank you for listening to Delta Green, God's Teeth, part of the Black Project Gaming podcast. If you like what you heard, please consider leaving us a review on Apple Podcasts or a comment on YouTube. Be sure to visit blackprojectgaming.com for previous and future Delta Green episodes. If you'd like updates on all future releases, please follow us on Blue Sky or Facebook. Until next time, I'm Vince, your host and handler, with Cami as FBI Special Agent Sarah Hart, Doug as Homeland Security Investigations Special Agent Gerrald Swenson, Jack as Special Agent Adrian Selivanov with the FBI's Computer Analysis Response Team, and Sonia as Dr. Leah Caron with the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Thank you again, and remember, we'll be seeing you.